Hey, greetings, WFG teammates. Thank you to everyone for joining us for today's WFG Update, the April edition. I'm your head of field engagement, Drew McDonald. Appreciate everybody joining. We still got folks coming into the Zoom, but to be respectful of everyone's time, I think we'll go ahead and jump into this and get started. So I'm going to be joined today for WFG Update by my co-host and VP of Field Relations, Susan Davies. And then stay tuned because later on in the hour, we have a special treat. We are going to be joined by none other than Senior Executive Vice Chairman, $1 million earner, the incredible leader, Dan Charlier, one of the greatest leaders you'll find anywhere in World Financial Group, but also one of the greatest human beings. We are honored to have him and are really in for a treat to hear a message from Dan about the incredible momentum going on in WFG right now and the things that we're building towards with our huge convention coming up this summer in Las Vegas this July. WFG is a special company really built on relationships. We've had a great start to the year. I wanted to share this slide with you with all these different pictures. We had our EVC meeting in Las Vegas, including a WFG live episode with Steve Holbrook and Daniel Fombo, numerous field kickoff meetings throughout the U.S. and Canada attended by many WFG executives and our carrier partners that do such a great job supporting us. Of course, we had our Hawaii incentive trip. Had an opportunity there to celebrate our success of 500 top couples throughout the company. We also did WFG Live with Jonathan Marion, Paxton Fritch, Penny Oy, and others, hosted by the great Chief Distribution Officer, Wendy Boyd. So that was very special. And then we had a chance to go to the Leaders and Managers program with Fonseca, the LAMP conference in Orlando, where our very own Alicia Wynn spoke to the best of the best, the top 1% across the industry. And that was a great opportunity. We also did our first graduating class of field leaders that went through the Fonseca Financial Security Professional Leadership course to be Fonseca certified. I'm actually in Washington, D.C. right now. We have another D.C. fly-in leadership retreat today and tomorrow with a group of about 50 WFG leaders. So very excited for that. We continue to grow our partnership with Fonseca. I encourage you, if you haven't already, to get involved and become a member there. But so many great things going on. And then in addition to that, just recently, a few weeks ago, we had the executive leadership from Aegon fly in from the Netherlands, as well as some Transamerica leaders, and come to both Philadelphia and Toronto, and also come to Rohit Mehta's office, the office of himself and a few of his leaders. That was a very special occasion. But just so many great things going on right now across our business. And not only the first quarter, but specifically the month of March was a record-breaking month for us here in WFG. And no statistic got me more excited about that record-breaking March than gross field commissions. We paid out more than $140 million of field compensation in the month of March to our sales force. And the greatest thing about our business model, when the field's winning, when our field leaders and our agents are making money, that means the company's winning and making money. And most importantly, it means that families are being helped and protected in the middle markets that we serve. So I'm very proud of that statistic there. But WFG is a business where we foster our mindsets, our belief, and our commitment level to our goals from event to event. And that is why I think that events like these you see pictured here, these in-person meetings, are such an important part of achieving success here at WFG. But even more than that, WFG is special because as I said, it's a company built on personal relationships. And when we come together to celebrate our success, cast a massive vision for growth in the future, and lock arms to work together as one, driving towards taking over distribution in the middle market, we are so powerful together at WFG. There's nothing that we can't accomplish when we are working together in lockstep, home office and field leadership, different hierarchies, both competing with one another and helping one another grow and get better. And of course, plugging into the incredible support system we have with both our carrier partners and our parent companies in Transamerica and Aegon. I'm just so fired up and excited about all the great things happening across WFG right now. I hope that you can feel the buzz. I hope that you can feel that momentum in your own business, your own life, with your team, your base shop, your hierarchy, because it's real and it is out there right now. And we need to ride that wave right into convention. And one of the things that has helped driving that success in part is the personal activity bonus program that we rolled out back in November of last year. So now 5 months into this, again, this is something that you need to be using to drive growth in your business. It's a major driver of growth and cash flow for those that are taking advantage of this powerful program. And since we launched it, we've paid out more than $1 million on average in each month to those that qualified. So this is an investment by WFG in you, your team, and your business. So please make sure you're taking advantage of it and earning the maximum payout possible as you're helping us ensure that no family is left behind while we work hard to close that protection gap. You see the criteria to qualify here. It's the same as it's been since we launched it. 10,000 personal agency net points, 1 personal recruit, and a rolling 3-month personal agency MPR of 75% or greater. Of course, for training agent through the marketing director level, it's a 10% bonus to personal commissions with no cap. And for SMDs and higher, a 5% bonus to your personal commissions up to $1,000. And again, congratulations to all of you that have qualified for this powerful bonus program. In the month of January, 1,675 agents collected $1.235 million in bonuses. In February, 1,522 agents collected $1.086 million. And then in the month of March, the numbers are not yet final, but we project that 1,909 agents, a record for this program, will collect nearly $1.5 million in these personal activity bonuses. Again, make sure you're leveraging this in your business, a very powerful thing that the company has put on the table to drive growth and to reward our top personal producers. Another thing that we're excited to continue is the 2025 Stock-Based Cash Award Program. This is open and you are competing for it now at the marketing director through the SEVC level. The qualification period runs January 1 through December 31st, so calendar year 2025. We announced at the EBC kickoff meeting in January a new 2-tiered qualification system. So there's now an opportunity to hit higher cash flow targets at your level for an even bigger payout. And for all the details on this, you can go out to MyWFG and look at the brochure and the frequently asked questions that are available now. Transamerica excitedly extended their Thrive in 25 and also made an update enhancement to this. So we were thinking this was going to end at the end of Q1. They extended it into April. Make sure, and actually they've extended it through June 2025, as you see there at the bottom of the slide. They've paid out a lot of money through this program. It's a bonus opportunity for placing 2 or more Transamerica IUL policies in force in 1 month. So to get all the specifics on this, you can go out to MyWFG, or of course you can contact the life distribution wholesalers on the Transamerica side that you work so closely with. I know they'd be glad to help you leverage Transamerica in your business. But take advantage of Thrive in 25 as you have in the past. We know this is going to be a big driver of growth for us going forward. And then recently announced by AMS, our partners on the annuity side, is the Race to $1 Million, right? So this is for fixed annuity business. The first 100 agents to reach $1 million in fixed indexed annuity production in the second quarter, right? So this is already going on, retroactive to April 1st, runs through June 15th. And this is convention recognition, right? So it's a VIP access ticket for them and one guest to go to the Sphere on July 9th for a showing of Postcard from Earth in Las Vegas, and a Race to $1 Million Winners Cup with stage recognition at the 2025 convention. So you get to go to the Sphere in Las Vegas and go up on stage to be recognized, and it's the Race to $1 Million. If you want to get more information on that, contact your wholesaler with AMS. They do such a great job supporting us. I know they would be happy to do trainings for your team and get you plugged into this. There's such a massive opportunity right now to help families with the fixed indexed annuity products. And if and when it's appropriate for your client, we want to make sure that you're using these products and these carriers on the AMS platform to help close that gap. Another thing that we're doing that our president, Todd Buchanan, of course, announced in Hawaii is to make sure we're always gathering field input, listening to the field. And so we've launched an updated agent council program in 2025. We've established 5 councils designed to address specific areas of our business. And so you see who the leaders of each of these councils will be. Of course, the President's Council is aptly named. It'll be led by Todd. The Writing Agent Council will be led by our new Chief Distribution Officer, Wendy Boyd. The Agent Experience Council, led by our Head of CX and Marketing, Anissa Benich. TFA Advisory Council, led by TFA President Michelle Berry, and then our Quebec Leadership Advisory Council, led by Canada President Rick Williams. You see the descriptions there on the right of each of these councils. The bottom line is, folks, we want to always make sure that we are gathering field input and then putting that input into action to drive the company forward, do things better, and let you know that we're listening and taking action to deliver for you and for your businesses, your teammates, and your clients. And I believe that all 5 of these councils will get us closer to achieving that goal. And then another thing we're doing, in addition to leveraging the aforementioned agent councils, to ensure we're collecting field feedback and using your input to improve how we do things. We also want to continue to improve our outbound communication when it comes to giving you updates on the progress we're making. So to that end, we will continue to have monthly WFG update or WFG Live when we're on location at events like Tiger School, the EVC meeting, Hawaii Convention, or TFA Exchange. But then new for the second quarter and coming up in just a few weeks, we will have a Zoom meeting for EVCs and above across the entire company, US and Canada, where we will provide updates from our executive leadership team from each area of the business: operations, technology, marketing, field engagements, meetings and events, you name it. We're going to be giving you updates on our current progress, our trajectory, and importantly, giving an opportunity for those EVCs and above to ask questions and give us your input, right? And then lastly, you see coming soon, we're going to be releasing field surveys regarding a number of areas where we want more feedback from the field to chart a better course forward. The first of which will pertain specifically to meetings and events, including our incentive trips. So stay tuned for that. That'll be primarily going to SMDs and above at the leadership levels across the business. But we want to make sure we get your input to deliver for you with things like EVC meeting, the Hawaii incentive trip, TFA exchange, and of course, convention here coming up in July. You've also heard us talk a lot about WFG Way. And one part of that, you see this new curriculum path we've put in place: basic financial concepts, life insurance concepts, WFG systems and tools. But in addition to that, we have launched the new WFG Way sales training curriculum called Trustworthy Selling. This focuses on both mindset and skill set. It is importantly focused on needs-based selling and putting the needs of your clients first, and also sales effectiveness. This is available at no cost to all WFG agents. Many other companies that offer things like Trustworthy Selling pass that cost along to their agents, but this is an investment by the company in you and your downlines. We hope that you'll plug into this. I know we've already had close to 1,000 agents that have gone out and completed at least one module of Trustworthy Selling. So we're ahead of schedule with the launch of Trustworthy Selling. If you go to the My WFG Training Center now, you will find that all 8 of the core modules have been loaded. And we're working on the final modules, including a personality assessment and the capstone, which really gives you an opportunity to rehearse what you've learned. But the fundamental and tactical modules have all been loaded. And those are going to teach you things like active listening skills, asking the right questions of your client to raise the things that they need at the kitchen table, and more. So go out, plug into this Trustworthy Selling. And I'm very excited. We're going to be getting out into the field and doing some live events post-convention on this, giving agents an opportunity to consume this training in person instead of just through the training center on My WFG. And we're going to start by going out and visiting at the WSB Gold Street office with Alicia Wynn and Penny Oy here in a few weeks in early May. So stay tuned for more on Trustworthy Selling, but please make sure that you and your teams are plugging into this. It's going to be a big part of our training platform and curriculum going forward. Also very excited about SMD Academy. We've been putting a lot of work into planning this. We've got the date set. The qualifiers have been invited. We've got a great group coming to Philadelphia for the US SMD Academy, and also to Toronto for the Canada SMD Academy. You see the field speakers here, May 13th through 15th in Philadelphia. We are going to be joined by an incredible lineup of field leaders, including Daniel Fombo, Jay Gauthier, Jonathan Marion. Ed Milet will actually be joining us in person there in Philadelphia, Alicia Wynn, and Shannon Novacell. Again, Philadelphia at the flagship new Transamerica space, May 13th through 15th. And then in Toronto, the SMD Academy, we will be joined by none other than Dave Boucheri, Bernardo Infante, Laura Infante, Paxton Fritch, Rohit Mehta, and Liz Zetazade. Let me say that well. So we're excited about both of these events. We hope that your SMDs will qualify for future events going forward. Once we get through these first 2 for the US and Canada, we will announce the next SMD Academies. But our plan going forward is to do this in both the spring and the fall, US and Canada every year, and have 2 of these in both countries each year. So stay tuned for more details on future events like this. But this is going to be an exciting opportunity to celebrate the success of our top up-and-coming SMDs across the company. And then, of course, the Convention of Champions, the event of all event. We are well on our way to selling out both packed arenas, MGM Grand Garden and Michelob Ultra at Mandalay Bay, July 7th through the 10th. SEVC registration leaderboards are being updated weekly. They're out on My WFG. The early bird pricing ends tonight at midnight Eastern time. I will say again, early bird pricing will expire tonight at midnight Eastern time. That means effective at 12:01 a.m. tomorrow morning. The price will increase to $349, and you will also have only until April 30th, the end of this month, to register in order to be recognized from stage. Arena assignments will be shared in early May. If you or your teammates have not yet registered, please take a picture of that QR code you see there on the screen and get registered today before midnight. We need to make the final push, sell these arenas out. It's going to be an unbelievable convention, and we have some very, very special, never before done things in store. I can't wait to see the faces of agents, not only when they come across the exhibit floor and see some of the things we've cooked up, but also with some of the bombshell announcements that we're working on to make from the main stage as we drive into the event and drive out of the event with incredible momentum to build on the momentum that we already have. And I want to recognize and thank the incredible top 10 leaders by convention registrations, right? Number one, there's only one number one, Daniel Fombo leading the way with 2,133 registered for convention. The great Jamie Villalobos with 1,415, Rocky Shee with 1,170, Lillian Apono with 1016, Rob Day at 925, Penny Oy. My screen's cut off here. I can't see the number because my camera's blocking it. But Penny Oy, Sonny Huang, Dan Charlier, Charity, and Simon rounding out the top 10. Thank you and congratulations to all of you for leading by example. We are looking to make a final push here between now and really midnight tonight when that early bird pricing expires, but certainly before the end of April. So we make sure we get everybody recognized that registers before the end of this month. But I know we're going to sell out soon, so make sure your teammates are getting their registrations in. I mean, I think it's really important for us to never lose sight of how valid our opportunity is, right? It's hard to turn on the news or get online on any major website and not see the recent headlines that show how relevant, desirable, and well-positioned the WFG business opportunity remains in both the U.S. and Canada. And so you see just a few on the slide here. One here, the Great Detachment, why employees are increasingly dissatisfied with their jobs, right? Here's one on CNBC recently. Nearly 50% of people are considering leaving their jobs in 2024, more than during the Great Resignation, right? The side hustle generation, right? Gen Z and millennials redefine financial success. 70% of Canadian workers say flexibility is key to job satisfaction. And then more Americans with college degrees are working multiple jobs. No matter how you slice it, the bottom line is many workers are unfulfilled, dissatisfied in their current career, and looking for another opportunity. And more than ever, people are open to side hustles, part-time opportunities instead of a traditional 9-to-5 job. And flexibility and deriving a sense of purpose from the work they do is high on the list of many job seekers this day and age. So we are so well positioned at WFG, and we should never lose sight of the need for what we do, whether it's closing the protection gap or offering our opportunity to the countless people out there who are searching for one. So I just wanted to share that with you as a reminder of the incredible opportunity we have. The sky is the limit for us right now at WFG. And to talk about some of the tremendous success that our field leaders are achieving right now, I'm going to throw this over to my co-host, the great Susan Davies, to walk you through some of the agent advancements and cash flow milestones from February and March. Susan, thank you for being on. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Drew. And I just want to make sure we all understand how important it is that Drew got us to have all of these webinars that keep you up to date on what's going on, because it's very important, and these are his brainchild, and I think they're very important and very well received. So thank you, Drew, for doing all of this. So this is my favorite time of year because it's convention time, and there's many things going on. So these are just a few of the people who are going to be recognized at convention. So if you look at this is through February and March. We have 282 new $50,000 watch earners, 122 new people who've earned their first ring at $100,000, 39 new $250,000 ring earners, 13 at $500,000, 4 at $750,000, 6 new $1 million ring earners already, $1.5 million ring earners, one of them, one at 3 million, one at 6 million, and one at 10 million. So let's just look at a few of the latest. $250,000 ring earners: Sophia Apia, Jose Baptista, Jumi Chen, Shu Chen, Jose Romer Cruz, Matthew Doe, Jody Ng, Pratham Gandhi, Ricardo Garcia, Richard Hammond, Ben Hilborn, Maggie Jin, Neil Clausen, Yi Lenher, Richard Martins, Pamela Wynn, Ed Nichols, Godson Ofogia, Boo, Kyle Raw, Reina Alvarado Rivera, Rick Roman, Tina Simmons, Simon Wu, Sandy Yu, Vicky Yu, Yvonne Yua. At 500,000, Toso Alami, Gohar Aztaran, Shirley Chang, Cindy Liu, Matt Lucky, Bella Makaraj, Elio Nito, Karen Plan, Nima Sojayan, Jason Sopka, Gary Ziegler. At 750,000, new ring earners: Kevin Chan, Rutha Fedora, Michael Makita, Guillermo Milord. And at 1 million, Ali Ahadi, Debega Lionel, and Tom Liu. Melissa Magdalene, Corey Michaud, and Alazriza Solomon Rizi. At 3 million, Zach Rance. Congratulations, Zach, 3 million. At 6 million, Martin Quende. Way to go, Martin. Awesome. And a new $10 million ring earner, Daniel Fombo. Now, one thing about all of these advancements and all of these rings, they all represent lives that you've changed and people that you have helped. So it's not just about the recognition for these people, although it's very important, but it's also the families whose lives have been changed. So thank you for that. So no new promotions: 95 new SMDs, 16 new EMDs, 4 new CEOMDs, and 4 EVCs. So these people are Jumeni Chen, Timothy Ezewan, Joyan John, Quang Ku. One note: Quang also qualified for his $1 million ring just last year. Magdal Kuma, Fritz Luan, Sandra Oliveras, Akian Olawa, Glacis Johnson Rojas, and new CEOMDs: Kayang Fung, Pawandeep Kaur, and Nima Shojan. New EVCs: Gohar Asatrayan, Alma Cantrero, Gilbert Fawn, and Aloysius Iko. These are all amazing, and congratulations. And back to you, Drew.
Thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate that. It's always great to see the momentum that so many leaders across our business are having right now. You know, before we have the opportunity to go to our special guest speaker, I just want to take a moment and really talk about our theme for this year's convention, right? Big steps, big impacts. And we are looking for leaders to step up and make some big steps as we charge into convention, right? We are looking for the leaders of tomorrow. And what I want to know is, for all of you out there on this webinar, are you one of them, right? We are looking for agents who are ready to take their game to another level. Are you prepared to do that? The need for what we do has never been greater. We are investing heavily in our business platform, our technology, and at the same time leveraging the input of our field leadership and listening like never before to make sure we continue on our current growth trajectory after we just set incredible records in the month of March. With the momentum we have today, I'm absolutely convinced that WFG is poised to take over the industry. And when it comes to the distribution of financial services products in the middle market, I believe that WFG will stand heads and shoulders above the competition in the years to come. And I know that our special guest field speaker today is going to play a big role in that success. This gentleman is a leader of leaders and a man who is a student of this business and understands it so well. He knows what it takes to build a massive hierarchy because he leads one today. And I can't wait to hear the message he has in store for us. Dan, thank you so much for being on. Folks, help me give a warm virtual welcome to Senior Executive Vice Chairman, the great Dan Charlier.
All right, all right, all right. Thank you, Andrew. Drew. What a great message. It's so exciting to be part of a company with a tremendous amount of momentum. Just looking at the numbers, and so many great things are going on within WFG right now. And we're closing out the convention. We're going to sell it out. We're going to sell it out probably tonight. It'll probably be sold out. But I was thinking before I came to speak to everyone here, in 1998, I remember when I got recruited by Ed Mylett, and this was probably March of 1998, right? And there was a convention coming up. And at the time, one of the things that we say leaders set the example, attending and challenging their team to attend all events. So one of the things Ed did at our office, we had a little small office in Covina, California, and it was a BPM night. Back then we did live BPMs, business presentation meetings, and we had general training and run room. In the other room, we had the guests. And on the whiteboard, Ed Mylett had all the people on his team that was registered. He had them in green, and all the people that were not registered, he had them in red. Right. And at that point in my life, I'm part-time in a business. I don't have my license yet. I'm not making any money. And I'm doing WFG part-time, but at the same time, I'm working a full-time job in the military. I'm working 24 on, 24 off and all of that stuff, right? I'm broke. I'm living payday to payday. And the story that I told myself at that time, which was my reality, is that there's no way in the world I can go to this convention, right? Because I started to do the math. I was just like, man, it's a couple of $100s for a ticket. Then I got to get a suit. Then I got to go to Vegas. Then I got to get a hotel room. Then there's food. I was like, there's no way I can go to Vegas, right? So it was amazing because that accountability, when I saw my name on the board, and I was like, oh man, Ed knows that I'm not going to convention, right? Because my name was on the board. So after the meeting, we do a meeting after the meeting. Mylett pulls me in the office. He goes, Charlier. He says, hey man, why are you not registered for convention, right? And I started to give him the excuse, and he goes, stop. He goes, look, this is not a conversation about you explaining to me why you can't go to convention. He says, Dan, let me ask you a question. When you first got started here and you told me that you wanted to retire your mom and you don't wanted to get out of debt and you wanted to travel the world and all of this stuff, he says, was that lip service or were you for real? And I said, absolutely, I was for real. And he says, then what are we talking about? He goes, look, Dan, you're 32 years old. I can't believe that. I was 32 at the time, right? He says, I'm 59 now. He goes, you're 32 years old, Dan, and you're in a financial position where you can't put a couple of $100s together to go to an event that can potentially change your life. He goes, look, if you can't figure out how to go to this convention, you probably are not the person that I need to work with. And I won't work with you if you don't go to this convention. So figure it out. The option of not going is not even an option, right? And that was a little bit intense, right? Because I'm a Marine, he's a personality. At the time, he was 29, right? He's not the soft-spoken, nice Ed Mylett that you guys know now, right? And I remember when he said that to me, I said, oh my God. I said, I'm going to convention, right? And it's amazing when you make a decision, right? So automatically I made a decision, I'm going. And I realized that there were other people like me. I figured out there was other people like me. So what I did is I got a couple of people in the base shop and said, I'm going to convention. Let's carpool to Vegas together. So there was 5 of us in a car. We carpooled. We chipped in for gas. We stayed at a Motel 6 in Vegas, paid $35 a night. I had a gallon of water, a loaf of bread, some peanut butter and jelly, and I was like, oh my God, I was so excited to go to my first convention. That was June of 1998 at the Mandalay Bay. Man, what was an amazing event. But one of the things that I learned from what Marlette went over with me is that, and I want you to think about this, and I want you to write this down. There's a big difference between working on your business versus working in your business. See, a lot of us all month long, we are working in our business, which means that hopefully you're making calls, you're recruiting, you're scheduling appointments with families, you're helping families, you're fast starting and onboarding new recruits. That's working in your business. But this morning, what I want to talk about is working on your business, right? Working on your business is totally different. I want you to write this down. You build your business from big event to big event. So for example, we just all had our conventions in the beginning of the year. I'm sure you and your leaders, you had your kickoff convention, your kickoff meeting. And let's say you're an SMD right now, and at your kickoff meeting in January or February, or whenever your leader has it, right? Let's say you had 20 leaders at that meeting, right? So when we talk about building your business from big event to big event, right? If you had 20 leaders at your last big event, what you should be thinking is that you should be doubling the size of your team. So if you had 20, you should literally go from 20 to 40 by convention, right? That's working on your business. The person with the biggest team always wins, right? The person with the most licensed agents always wins, right? So one of the things with that is that I remember going to my first convention, right? And I saw all these leaders on stage. They were just incredible speakers, the Rich Dawleys, the Monty Holmes, the Ed Marlettes, and all of these guys. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, man, like I could never talk like Rich Dawley or Monty Holmes or Ed Marlette and all the other leaders. And I remember Marlette said to me, he said, Charlier, right? And I want you to write this down. You have to become a director of motivation. Direct your team where motivation and inspiration happens, right? So he says to me, he said, Charlier, one of the things that I want you to be clear on when you go to this convention, you will always see what you're looking for. You will always see what you're looking for. What is it that you're looking for when you're going to this convention, right? So this is 1998, right? My first convention. And I'm thinking to myself, can someone like me, right, do this? I've been here for 27 years. You'll probably be like, Dan, you bleed WFG. Of course you can do it, right? But back then, I didn't believe that I could do it. I was a Marine, blue collar worker. I was working part-time doing construction, moving company, and I was working about a 90-hour work week, right? Making about $3,000 a month. And I'm being mentored by this guy, Ed Marlette, right? He's teaching me the business, and he sees in me what I don't see in myself. So I remember Marlette said to me, he says, Charlier, I want you to be clear on your outcome. I want you to write this down as you're listening. Big events are where new leaders are born. Big events are where new leaders are born. So he says to me, what is your outcome going to this convention? And my outcome was clear. Can someone like me do this? Right? So I go, convention. Some of you have been to convention. Some of you are listening brand new and you've never been to convention. Convention is a vibe. I mean, it's a vibe. It's going to be fire. It's going to be overwhelming. There's going to be life-changing decisions. You make life-changing decisions not in your natural environments. So I want you to picture this, right? I mean, for those of you that know what it is, you know what it is. I'm in a hoopty, right? That's one of those cars that's hard to start. I got four teammates in the car with me. We're all broke. We're all living payday to payday, and we're going down to convention. We check in a Motel 6. Imagine 4 grown men in a Motel 6, $35 a night, right? Which is crazy, right? So I go to this convention, and there's a part of the convention where they have it's gala night. Everyone's all dressed up, and I'm in the nosebleed seats all the way up there, right? And I got a name tag that says attendee, right? I'm in the nosebleed seats, and I'm watching story after story after story and recognition and all of this stuff, right? And I'm like, oh my God, I had never been to an environment like this. See, I thought my WFG experience was my local office. You know, we had 60, 70, 80 people in the office. And then I go to this convention, and all of a sudden I'm in this room of thousands of people. And I'm all the way up. I'm all the way up in the all the way up in the stands, and I'm looking down, and I see all these people on the floor. They're all dressed up in tuxes and all this stuff. And I'm with one of my buddies, that's one of my Marine Corps buddies, right? So I don't know if you guys know this, but we have what we call a Millionaire Hall of Fame in WFG. It's called a Millionaire Hall of Fame. So in order for you to be inducted into the Millionaire Hall of Fame, you have to make at least $1 million a year, right? Not accrued. You have to break at least $1 million a year. So that year, you know, every year we do different recognition. That year, they were recognizing all the leaders that was inducted in the Millionaire Hall of Fame, right? So what they did that year, they had portraits on stage. I want you to imagine, like, these portraits on stage. So there was 8 portraits on stage. And I'm sitting there, I have no idea what's going on, right? And they roll out the Millionaire Hall of Fame, and you know how we do recognition, huge and big and all of this stuff, right? And one of the leaders that got recognized, he just got recognized in Millionaire Hall of Fame. He gets his portrait, right? It's a portrait like this. Hopefully you can see this. Oh, that's my wife. See that portrait right there? Portrait like that, right? And he's holding his portrait. He's holding his portrait, and he starts yelling into the mic. He was an Asian guy. And he starts yelling. He goes, $1 million, $1 million, $1 million. I'm sitting there. I look at my buddy. I was like, what is this guy saying? And my buddy said to me, oh my God, I think that dude just made $1 million. I said, are you freaking kidding me right now? That dude made $1 million? And I remember thinking to myself, you guys, if that guy can do it, I can do it. And I left that meeting. See, there was the one thing that I needed to see, right? The one thing I needed to see. And I left that meeting, you guys, I left that meeting a different person. Now, I want you to think about this. See, your teammate's vision is stretched, helping the team become more committed to their success. I want you to think about this. What if Ed Mylett, because I think about this stuff, what if Ed Mylett, see, in every conversation, someone closes someone. See, your teammates are either closing you on their story on why they can't come to convention, or you are going to lead your teammates, believe in them more than they believe in themselves, and get them to that life-changing event. See, I want you to think about this. There's someone on your team right now that's not going to convention. And you don't even know they're not going to convention. You haven't even had a conversation with them. You haven't even set up an appointment and say, hey, let's go grab a cup of coffee, right? Leaders pay attention to their businesses, right? So I want you to think about, there's one person that needs to get a phone call from you, that needs to get a sit down from you, kneecap to kneecap, and you got to pour belief in them and go, hey man, you can't afford not to go to convention. And that person, when they get to convention, here's what they're going to tell you when they come out of convention. Dan, I'm so happy you called me. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm so happy I came here. I made a life-changing decision. Now, as you think about that, you know, I was Daniel Fumbo and I were talking right before the holidays, right? So we're talking, and he says, my brother, he says, I remember when I came to convention, I think it was 2018, right? And he's at convention. I want you to think about this. He just crossed $10 million a year in WFG. Been here for, I believe, less than 8 years. I want you to think about what I'm about to tell you. This is Daniel and Linda. Daniel tells me, he says, my brother, I remember when I went to convention. And I remember watching everybody on stage. And he says, I remember when you came out and you started talking and you started telling your story. And you said you were from Haiti and grew up from a single mom and all this stuff. He says, I looked at Linda and I said to myself, oh my God, he's black like me. He's Haitian. I'm African. He's a 7-figure earner. And he looked at Linda. He says, if he can do it, I can do it. Now, I want you to think about this, right? What if Daniel and Linda didn't show up to that convention? By the way, you are one recruit away from an explosion. See, there's someone on your team right now, and you might not know who they are, but they're going to make. Do you have any idea how many leaders in WFG, right, have made decisions at these big events like this? So you're going to have some of the greatest speakers, the greatest leaders in the company that are going to be speaking. I'm going to give you some points now, right? 1, big events, ways they impact your team. 1, new and renew associations. So I remember the second time I went to a convention. And I remember I had made a mental note. I want to meet Swan. And when I meet Swan, I have a specific question for him. And I remember when I saw him, I said, hey, Swan, my name is Dan Charlier. I'm Director Ed Marlette. Can I have 10 seconds of your time? I have a quick question for you. He says, nice to meet you. What's your question? I said, Swan, if you were me, knowing what you know now, and you were starting brand new, what would you have done different and why? And he looked at me, he said, Dan, I would become a student of the business format system. I said, a student of the business format system. Boom, I wrote that down. So guess what? I left, I got my outcome, talking to Swan, I reread the business format system. So now Swan knew who I was, right? Because I approached him. I was clear. So it was a new association, right? Then I set some goals coming out of convention. You look at the first quarter, Susan just went over the first quarter of 2025. All the SMDs that are promoted, all the $100,000 earners that are promoted, all the $250,000 earners that are promoted. And you mean to tell me, I want you to think about this. You mean to tell me that those people are so much better than you that they can do it and you can't? See, when you get into that environment and you start setting some new goals because you're inspired, right? You're inspired. And by the way, these are all leaders. This is not like you going to a self-help seminar. This is not that there's anything wrong with those, but this is an environment in WFG. So we've got leaders that have become ultra successful, that built businesses that are going to invest their time and tell you how they did it. See, storytelling is extremely powerful. I remember when I first got started, right? And I still do it till this day. See, I love hearing people's stories. See, because I remember hearing stories. I remember when Rob Day told his story, and I was like, man, like I use those stories to recruit when I'm recruiting someone. See, if someone's an engineer, I know an engineer story that can connect with them. If someone's a doctor, I know doctor stories to connect with them. See, one of the things you got to get really good is understanding other people's stories. Well, guess what? At the convention, you're going to get a chance to hear some of the greatest stories, and you're going to get a tremendous amount of value for you and your team. The other thing too is that when you get there, there's a saying that we say, clap on to others as you would like others to clap on for you. See, you got to get fired up. You got to get excited. I remember when I went to convention and my name tag said attendee. And I started walking around, and all the SMDs, their name tag said SMD underneath, then EMD underneath, CEO, EVC, SEVC. And I remember saying to myself, man, this is the last time I attend convention, and I'm going to be wearing a name tag that says attendee. Next year, it's going to say SMD. So I made a decision at that convention. See, all of these things that I'm talking about, right? The team camaraderie. So like for us, the Black Excellence Leadership Council, on that Monday, we're going to be doing a big event in Vegas, right? We're also going to have a team event in Vegas. A lot of us are renting out suites and all of this stuff and doing parties for our team. Are you planning all of this stuff? If you're an SMD, you gotta have at least have a base shop meeting at your suite. At least rent a suite one night a week, one night that week, and have a base shop meeting. Have other leaders come speak to your team, right? I remember Jing Ho. She's just crossing over 1.5 million at a convention. She had a suite at the MGM, and she had her teammates there. She had probably maybe about 20, 25 people at her suite. Everybody was there. They had their vision boards. They set new goals on what they were going to do. See, your team is going to be at a high coming out of this convention, right? Now, the difference between the leaders that just attend the convention and the leaders that are intentional about the convention, two separate things, right? So you're going to be, your team is going to be excited. So let's say you got 50 people coming to convention, right? Do you have your base shop meetings at your suite? Do you have that planned? Do you have some dinners planned? Do you have some set goals coming out of convention? Like what's going to be the campaign coming out of convention? Do you have all of that set up? So now when your team leaves convention, they've got a clear, precise plan on exactly what their goal is going to be July, August, and September, October, November, which is the biggest quarter in our business. Now, if you weren't thinking about all this stuff, right? You weren't thinking about all this stuff. You just got on today. Okay, we're just gonna get some WFG updates, and you weren't thinking about this. Let me share with you probably why. See, Maxwell has a great book on leadership, and one of the things that he talks about in leadership is that most of you, right? You're working in your business. You got your head down. You're doing all the things that you need to do, right? Which is you're making phone calls, you're getting no's, you're overcoming objections, blah, blah, blah. You're problem solving. You're doing all of this stuff, right? But every now and then, what a leader, and when I say leader, I mean you, not just your title. That's like if you're sitting there and you're a senior associate and you're like, well, my SMD doesn't. No, you're a leader. So you're mobilizing 5 people, you're mobilizing 10 people, you're a leader. So I'm talking to you, not you pointing at your SMD or your EMD or your SEVC, right? See, what a leader does at one point, I want you to imagine this. You got your head down, you're chopping down the trees, you're working in your business. And what a leader does at one point, they climb up the tree. They reinforce their mission and vision. See, a leader needs to lead, but a leader also needs to be fed. See, when you go to when you go to convention, right? You mobilize your team. It's just as important for you. It's just as important for you as it is for your team. You see, if you go to the convention, you guys, this will be my probably 28th convention. I'm still just as fired up today as I was back in 1998. See, I was sitting in the front row. I remember 2 years ago. This was 2023. I'm at convention. Every morning, I got up early every morning. I got to the MGM Arena. I wanted to fight for the front row. I sat right in the front row with my pen and pad, and every speaker that came out, I was like, man, I can't wait to hear his story. And one speaker would come out, they would tell their story. And I remember thinking to myself, man, somebody recruited that person. Somebody prospected that person. Someone sold that person the dream. They walked away, they were making six-figure income, and somebody sold them the dream. And look at them now, they're making millions of dollars, right? And there's two things that I want you to consider when you go to convention. Is one, what is your belief level on the business opportunity? Now, I believe WFG is the number one business opportunity, bar none. Bar none. That's my belief, right? So when I'm sitting there and I'm hearing story after story after story after story, I'm going, oh my God, what an unbelievable opportunity. We're all different people from all walks of life. Whether you're white, you're black, you're tall, you're short, you're fat, you're skinny, you're a woman, you're a man, you can do it here. So my first convention, you guys, I didn't see someone that was African-American. Well, I'm not African-American, I'm Haitian. Well, whatever. You guys get what I mean, right? I didn't see anyone black on stage. But you know what I saw? I saw all different types of people from all walks of life. So I was like, man, I'm going to be the first one. If they can do it, I can do it. I want you to think about that. So the belief about the opportunity is going to be a level 10. A level 10. You're going to be there. It's going to take every excuse you have off the table because you're going to see some incredible story. So one, your belief is going to be high about the opportunity. Second thing you're going to see the vast array of products. You're going to see the power of Aegon, the power of our product providers, the things that we're doing for the field as far as the products and services that we're putting in place. Geez Louise, you guys, you think about how much it costs for you to get started here? $125. You get your life license, and you're putting yourself in a position. Drew just went over some of the stuff that WFG is doing in the back office, right? That you don't even have to pay for. Do you know how great that is? You're going to see some of the stories about the products and what we've done to families and crusades and all. So the belief of what we do for the consumer is going to be at a level 10, right? But if you're there by yourself, right? I want you to imagine this. Imagine going to see a great movie, right? You go out date night with your wife, you go see a great movie, right? And then you come back and you try to explain to your friends this movie that you just saw. It's not the same effect. Versus if you guys went on a date night, double date night, go, hey, let's go watch this movie together. See, you're not going to have that same effect. So the people on your team, I want you to think about this. Let's say you got 80 people on your team. 50 of them registered, they're going to convention, there's 30 staying back. See, when you come back and you have your emergency meeting with your team, right, there's going to be a big difference between the 50 that went and the 30 that stayed back. The 30 that stayed back, they didn't have a life-changing experience. So I want you to think about this. Do you know on your team who's not going? Have you had a conversation with them? By the way, do they know that you know that they're not going? Right? And I want you to think about this. Working on your business is just as important as working in your business. You are a director of motivation, right? Now, the last thing I would tell you is this. For your life to change, you need a life-changing experience. Let me say that again. For your life to change, you need a life-changing experience. See, this is not, if you're going to this convention and it's a casual convention, or maybe you've been around for a while, maybe you've got that been there, done that mindset, right? As a leader, I want to remind you, there's 3 types of leaders. There's one that has no idea what's going on. Their heads in the sand. They have no idea what's going on. Then there's number 2, a used to be leader. They're talking about what they used to do back in the day, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then there's you. You're a do-it-first leader, right? You're a do-it-first leader. That means what? You're registered. Your spouse is registered. You're orchestrating. You're having emergency meetings with your team. You're painting the picture of what it's going to look like when they get there. They're clear on their outcome sheets. You got a strategy when they are leaving convention, what their game plan is going to be, right? And if I'm being led by a senior associate that's clear, go, look, here's what's going to happen when we get to convention. Man, we're staying at the MGM. Man, here's our schedule. This night right here, we got a free night this night. We're going to do a dinner. We got a product provider coming in. We're going to do a dinner. Man, we're going to get together. We're going to do some goal setting. Everybody needs to come with their business plan, their vision boards, all of that stuff. We're getting ready together in our suite. We're making our move coming out. Man, are you doing any of this stuff? If you're not, I wanted to jump on this morning for a few minutes and share with you ideas, right? Because here's the thing. The event's going to sell out. Tonight, early bird special is over 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? And if you drag your feet, what if this event sells out? And then now you're like, oh my God, I wanted to. You think about it. We got 1,200 people on the Zoom right now. If everybody on here got 2 people registered, right? We're sold out. We're sold out. If everybody on here got 1 person registered, and then you got a whole bunch of other people in the company that's not on this webinar right now, do not become a casual. Do not become casual. Don't be casual, or you will become a casualty, because this thing is moving with or without you. By the way, I want to remind you, right? WFG is not a right. WFG is a privilege. You follow me? WFG is not a right. It's a privilege. So some of you that are here and you're excited, here's what I would tell you. Do not take this for granted. Do not take this convention for granted. Don't take it casual. We got 2 arenas. The place is going to be packed. And I want you to think about this. The train is moving with or without you. We're going to have an amazing convention, whether you're there or not. But my message to you is that we want you there. We want you focused. We want you mobilizing your team. So I wanted to remind you guys of that. Thank you guys. And I will see you guys in Vegas. And thank you guys.